fourth edition of Helsinki Photo Festival's Diplomatic Session webinars. I'm really happy to have 4 excellent photographers from Central Europe with us. We have this year, no, it's not this year, it's just this time. We have this time Sina Niemeyer and Jasper Kettner from Germany. We have Ingeborg Everaerd from Netherlands. I'm really trying my best spelling your names right.
Perfect.
And we have Jordal from Norway. This as who will be today on the show. My name is Rafael Rybczynski. I'm the founder and artistic director of Helsinki Photo Festival. We are now in our 4th year, and we are trying to showcase every year 50 open call winners that, based on the theme, have the opportunity to exhibit in Helsinki for 12 weeks in numerous of locations. And there's no more that I can say. It's like we're trying really to do our best to really bring photography closer to people that are interested in photography. But now I think it's time for me to move over to the first speaker. I understood Netherlands is the one to go. Ingeborg,
Yes.
welcome to the show. The screen is yours, I would say.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for letting me speak, first of all. My name is Ingeborg Everaerd, and I'm a visual storyteller from Amsterdam. I like to photograph people who might not appear to stand out in daily life, but who carry an emotional or special story with them. Mostly stories that I feel directly or indirectly connected with. The surroundings where these people live play an essential role in my images. But I'm also a mother of 2 beautiful adopted children, a 25-year-old daughter from Vietnam and a 24-year-old son from Colombia. And despite their differences, they go along very well. They have a strong bond as brother and sister. This image, my son's face in my hand, tells basically the whole story I want to tell you. It's an emotional self-portrait with me and my son, and it shows love, trust, and affection. My son was a so-called special need child when we adopted him. He was born and abandoned after 25 weeks, and we knew that he had been hospitalized almost his whole short life. Because of his premature birth, his organs were not fully developed and his heart needed urgent surgery. Unfortunately, his premature birth plays also a major role in the course of his further life, as it caused, among other things, an attachment disorder and a mental disability. This required and still requires a constant care. And because I was the main caretaker, I was the one who he trusted and listened to. I became his conscience, as it were. Many therapies and schools followed, and when he turned 18, I decided to take him from school because school made him so unhappy and restless. After I took him out of school, he started a job for mentally disabled people in a restaurant. Here he flourished and finally felt at ease. Busqueda is a story about the search of my son's roots and the bond between us. The reason that I want to tell this story is because I want to show the love that I feel for my son, that color, disability, or origin do not stand in the way of love. Since my son left our house at the age of 21 to live in an assistant home, the distance between us has increased, literally and figuratively. That's why I wanted to take my son back to the country where he was born, a search, Busqueda, for his roots, with a little hope that it would awaken something in him. But the chance that you build a bond with a place that you've left around your first birthday is small. And it doesn't get bigger if your body and mind have suffered considerable scars because you were born 14 weeks early. It wasn't an easy trip. Often my son was very quiet and introvert. I couldn't figure out what he was feeling or thinking. It made me sad to see him like this. Later he would say to me, "Mom, I was a little overwhelmed." With this story, I let you travel. You see the love. Sorry?
I'm sorry for interrupting you, Ingeborg. I really don't like doing this, but can you make your screen bigger. Can you put, I mean, you're very, yes.
Let's like this? Oh, sorry.
The
Okay,
green button or the play button. At the moment,
is it okay like
I'm
this?
very sorry for interrupting you. That was
No, don't worry. Don't worry.
not
It's okay
yet.
like this.
It's if yes. If you press the play button above.
Yeah, I do. It is. It can't be larger.
The play button there's a play button in your navigation in the middle. If you press this one, it'll go full screen. Yes.
Well,
Perfect.
I should have known that before. It's okay. With this story, I let you travel. You see the love that I cherish for my son. It's a journey through the emotional world. Oh, sorry. Sorry to interrupt, but now I don't know how to move on. Shit. Okay. With this story, I let you travel. You'll see the love that I cherish for my son. It's a journey through Colombia. It's a journey through the emotional world of a complicated but loving mother-son relationship. Life as it is, a continuous search. I would like to show you the 3-minute video Bisqueda because the way I show this project is not just with photographs, but I combine my photographs with the rap lyrics written and performed by my son. I subtitled the text of the rap lyrics because the text is so touching and honest that it adds an extra layer to this project. It shows his emotions and feelings. And because of his mental disability, it's quite an achievement to write such an emotional and honest lyrics. Yeah. Oh. Now it doesn't work this way.
Not.
Oh, no.
Put me back on while she's fixing. Don't worry.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sorry. I mean, we should have. It was going so well.
Technology, just perfect. I go back.
Okay. Do you see it now or not?
Yes, it's perfect.
Yeah, but I cannot. If I have it on full screen, I cannot show the movie. That's why.
It's very simple. It's if you press on your Macintosh Command and Tab button, you can scroll between the screens and the applications.
I know. So I know I can do this, but the thing is that when it's smaller, I can touch. Then I can play the video. But if
then
it's
go
big,
ahead. Then just go ahead like this, and
yeah. Then it's a smaller one. Sorry, everybody.
No worries. It's all perfect.
So I hope everybody could read the subtitles now when it's so small. Right. Hello? Did everything go right? I can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
I hope
Sorry, I hate this technology.
technology can be sometimes very tricky, and it's a challenge. My question was this your whole presentation, or have we missed something?
Yeah, did you see the whole, I mean, could you read the subtitles? Because it was, of course, now a little smaller, I think.
Yes, it was a bit smaller. I could read some of them, and then there was still a screen at the end, and I wasn't sure, is this part of the movie, or was this a separate slide?
No, there's a separate slide, but I didn't hear you anymore, so I thought, oh, I lost everything. So I can read my last, because I wrote also a letter to my son, because he, you know, this text he was rapping about is partly about me. So you know, so I wrote him. So I can read it to you. Wait, there I go. Okay, my sweetheart, you came into this world way too early, in a country far away, so small and vulnerable and very alone, fighting for your life. Doctors could fix your heart, but not your feeling. Step by step, did you come to and understand that you could trust the world, and that mom will be there for you and always be. You've grown into a beautiful young man who tries to understand life in his own way. It will never be easy, but know that mom will be there for you and always be. You have flown out now. It's sometimes difficult handing over care after all these years to someone else who I hardly know. Once more back to that country far away from here, together. Back to where everything started. Are you and me, separate from each other, searching for the roots of your existence? Waving palms, white beaches along the coast, it's no longer your country. Because you have found your happiness far away from this place. But never forget that mom will be there for you and always be. Love, mom. That's it.
Perfect. It's really no worries. It's technical challenging. I mean, this is like if we would have known that we're going to do webinars before the festival, and that this totally new technology and a lot of things that you need to know about, I would probably well, we're just doing it. I think we're all learners, and we're learning a lifelong. So the team has been marvelously putting things into motion, and as well like getting the works of photographers to display to explain much better why you have won or become a finalist with Helsinki Photo Festival. But let me just quickly go to, I went through your presentation earlier, and I was wondering, have you considered in the inner nuance of fearless? I mean, because looking at for oneself is never easy. How do you think is inner dimension involved in the theme of our festival?
You mean that the theme fearless?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I think to show emotions, you out of yourself so much. I think you have to be fearless. Even my son, and because he's very introvert, and he in his reps he's really vulnerable, and he comes out with his thoughts. And same with me. I mean, it's not a story you want to tell. It's not an easy story to tell. I mean, it took a while for me to explain what happened when he was younger, and I think not everybody noticed it, because my son, I mean, you don't see that he is mentally disabled. So, I mean, I think so in a certain way, it's fearless now to show my emotions and his emotions.
Okay, all right. What do you think is the element you looked for in your photographs to represent the Busqueda.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you were how you say that? I didn't hear anything because you were frozen.
Oh, I was frozen. Oh, that's
for me.
It's technically, as I said, it's challenging. It's challenging, and we're just going to move on. What do you think is the element you looked for in your photographs to represent the Busqueda?
Well, when I went, I mean, in the beginning, I had no idea how I was going to present it, because I just took off with my son with a plane, and it was very hard also because I was all by myself and I had to watch my stuff, my camera and his stuff, and I had to take care of him. So I had no clue how I was going to proceed, and it just happened. I mean, he was like very introvert, and he was like, so I had so many images, and it just, after the editing, there was a lot of symbols involved. How, you know, that certain pictures are maybe for some people like, what does she mean with that? But it's more like, by example, that he is with arms wide in the pool. He was swimming, he was diving, and for me it felt like a dive in the past or a rebirth. So all those things meant a lot to me. So it's also, I think, a lot of symbolic feelings, and also, like, he's very often had his eyes closed, looking into the sun. So that felt for me also like that he is a child from the sun. So it's like a lot of things in my mind explained a lot. So
was this the first time that you were traveling with your son alone?
Yeah, alone, yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and he never wanted to go. Because my daughter, I made a road trip with her when she was 18, and said to my son, when you're 18, of course you can also. No, he never wanted to. But at the moment he moved out, mm-hmm. and he was living as assistant home, and he has his own apartment there, and he felt really grown up. And so I asked it one more time, and he said, yes, I want to go. So we went. So that was also a very big surprise for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was wondering as well, like, when now looking through your presentation, and maybe this is a silly question, but do you think that the journey that you're taking with your son has an end, or is this?
Well, he now, you know, it's the journey. I mean, you know, the figuratively journey will never end, of course, because I always have to take care of him.
Yes.
So, and at that moment, he didn't feel at ease in Colombia, but later he spoke a lot about it. And since I have on quite a few photo festivals and some publications, and he's so proud, and he's even want to go back to Colombia. So he's like really getting confident, and it makes him more, I don't know, he feels more involved, especially when I use his reps as well. So he is so proud that he definitely want to go back. But he always, when he was there, he said, Mom, I don't want to live here, and I can also easily go to Spain because they speak Spanish as well. But now he's changing a little bit his mind, and it has to do with the combination of his reps and my movies and my video. So, and it's nice to get him involved with that as well. So that's also a journey.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I lay my terms down. This were the main questions that I had that popped into my mind when I was going through your presentation. And I just a question: how old is your son now? 24. 24. Oh.
Yes.
Well, I mean, still, I think he still will have a long journey, and I really look forward that you get closer together and have more ways of exploring yourself and him in further steps. I was just wondering quickly, are the other photographers would like maybe, I mean, is there any questions? I didn't see any comments from the audience, but Would maybe some of the other photographers like to ask anything to Sina? Anybody? No?
To Sina or to Ingeborg?
Sorry?
To Ingeborg, you mean?
Yes, I mean, the question would be like this: is, now everybody has been learning about your works, and I was wondering if the other photographers would have some questions to you or something that would relate to Busqueda and your wonderful submission. Okay, I guess
no questions, all clear.
All right. Okay. So I guess we have no questions. I'm thanking you very much for participating in this webinar. It was very nice to learn a little bit more about your work and to get more background information, because when we receive project description and the picture, that's just something very small. And then I think this webinar series giving opportunities really to learn much more about the photographer and about the aim and what you're doing. And I wish you all the best. And we will be talking a little bit more later on this show. So now I am very happy to introduce already the next speaker from Germany. Now we have Sina Niemeyer with us. Welcome, Sina. Yes, I will need to learn a little bit more about this syncing of all kinds of information popping over the screen. But Sina, it's still your turn. So one more time, welcome to your show. It's your.
Thank you. All right. So you can see full screen, right? And you can hear me well. Okay. I guess there's no, so I'm just gonna start.
Hang on, I'm sorry, I still can't see it full screen. So please, there is still something you have to do.
It is full screen here.
I think maybe if you press the green button in the corner, maybe that makes the whole screen
Just
big.
this one?
That's probably.
I don't think that's gonna work.
No.
Normally, it's just the presentation.
Ooh, technology in all these different forms. But I think if you go on the bottom, the bottom of the whole presentation, on the left side, there's a button that should open the whole presentation. I think if it's PowerPoint.
It's not changing it, is it? But wait, maybe I can try.
But then you have something down the bottom. It shows.
I'm just gonna reshare when it's already in full screen mode. Maybe that works. Does it work now?
Well, I hope the tech can help us as well a little bit. We have yes, okay, and it's a bit difficult for me from the other side of the world, so to speak, to do.
Because it is in full screen now on my computer.
Yeah, it is full screen, but well, I think let's go ahead. Let's just go ahead and we just take this as it is.
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe it works like that. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna take you through my project Für mich, or the longer title is You Taught Me How to Be a Butterfly Only So You Could Break My Wings, which basically deals with my experience of child sexual abuse. And I'm kind of assuming that either people already know the project or you can have a look at it later. So I want to talk a little bit about the structure and the different aspects of the project and yeah, like why I chose certain media that I worked with. So in the beginning, there was a big issue of suppressed anger, which I realized when I first started working with this issue. It's really annoying though that you're seeing my notes and everything. Okay. Well, so I tried to find as many pictures as I could of the perpetrator and started destroying them with different tools that I used to destroy myself earlier, but this time I took out my anger on the person that I wanted to direct it at. So this became a big part of the book, and then later on I started recollaging, sort of. So I took like destroyed pictures and put them back into collages. And so yeah, like destruction and sort of working with the destruction and making something from destroyed pieces again became a big topic within that work and within showing it. Then there was another big part, which I call understanding. So I started going through my family archive and all the photos in there. And when I went through them, I suddenly found that I could actually make a reference to the point of when the abuse happened, that also my behavior towards the camera changed a lot. So these images became a very big part of the book, where you can see like me as a happy, smiley child, but then suddenly there are all these pictures where I'm kind of like apart and away from the family and not really part of the whole scene anymore. And then I also worked a lot with diaries, letters, and notes. So while I was making the project, I was writing a diary, but also when I was younger, I would always write. So I used a lot of that material, and I mean, it also helped going through the process and understanding. I used documents. For example, this is a doctor's letter. Yeah. Sorry, I'm really annoyed by the way this is presented now, but yeah, we'll go along. Another big part of the book are places that I revisited. So basically with every clear situation or every clear memory that I had, I went to the place where it happened, and these places, like normally I photograph digitally, but for these I took an analog medium format camera because I really wanted to allow myself to go back into the moment and to just focus on the situation and to like really be able to take a picture in that situation and to like give you the feeling of being there and going back in time. And then another part of the project is self-portraiture. So photographing myself and my body was, I think, a very important step to sort of re-owning it and reclaiming it. So yeah, like for instance, sometimes it was very spontaneously, sometimes it would be a longer portrait session that I would plan, or where I just felt I want to do this now. And like, for example, this one, I already knew that the light would be nice in my apartment at that place. And so I just took an afternoon and photographed myself and like, I don't know, explored myself and my body without judgment. And that was kind of the whole process as well, that I would do something very intuitively and then only later on look at it and judge or find out what I want to use from it. And also the self-portraits helped a lot. For example, this was after I photographed a lot of the places where incidents happened. And suddenly I was really overwhelmed, and I was there with a car and couldn't drive anymore. So I decided I would go into a cornfield like we did as children and hide there. And then I was like, okay, I'm hiding in a cornfield. What am I doing here? And then I started photographing myself, and then this happened. And that's something I really continue to do. I call it intuitive photography. There's also the term therapeutic photography that, for example, when you get into a certain mood or you're not feeling well or whatever, just like a process to help you to go through things or to get back into reality and the here and now. So these are pictures that, arise then. And then about this project, there was also a big part which I call publicity and healing. So obviously, since Corona, things have changed. But before, it was really amazing that I got to travel, like, I don't know, for 2 years straight to a lot of different places and to show my project. And only then I realized that the resonance of people and the feedback, and like that people would actually come and thank me and show their empathy and like showed me that they thought it's important to talk about this as well, really helped healing a lot as well. And this is the book that you can also buy if you're interested in it. And if you've seen the exhibition, or if you want to know more, you can just get in touch with me as well if you want to get the book. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was very interesting to learn more about your works. I have a few questions though. I mean, your theme that you sent in the submission was actually quite a heavy topic. I mean, you're dealing with child sexual abuse, if I remember this right. And my question is, like, how did you stylistically, I mean, your photographic choices relate to the theme? As you mentioned, for example, the picture where you stand in a cornfield. How does this relate to your ignocentia?
I mean, like I said, this one, for example. Oh, I think I'm getting a feedback. Wait, I'll just turn you down a little bit. So this one, for example, for me, it shows strength and vulnerability at the same time. So like it's part of the process, because I mean, it's all my personal story, right? So this whole book and this whole project was about understanding, reclaiming, and finding strength again, and to really to like go through a process and leave all that behind. So this picture in the cornfield, for instance, to me shows like, okay, there is strength and there is a young woman who's independent and who's on her way, but still she's kind of sheltered and hidden maybe. So it's still like a process, and it's still, and I mean, we chose this as the cover of the book as well, because it's kind of, it shows the intimacy of something. So it is a very personal story, but on the other hand, it's getting out there and going public.
So you are, thank you. So you're using photography in this project to it's like a self-therapy, and as well like a new way of how to communicate with your surroundings, with people, to make a new, I mean, I would say, to find a new fearless way how to communicate with the rest of the world, and finding yourself.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I come from photography, but I notice every now and then again that I'm also interested in other art forms, and that for a lot of times photography to me doesn't seem enough to communicate and to express myself or certain topics. So especially in this project, I felt like, I don't know, it was a bit like every time I couldn't get any further with photography, I would switch to writing or to destruction, or so like I literally used a lot of different languages to express my emotions and what I had experienced. And it's kind of funny because still I think I don't have words for all of that. Like it's very hard to only talk about it, but in art I found different ways to express it, and it works well. Like people go into the exhibitions or they see the book and they understand, they feel the same as I feel, or pretty close to it.
So it is definitely one way of self-healing and
yeah. And I mean, I have to say that after I think it's been 4 years now that I worked with this project. So like for me, I'm slowly coming to an end with it, because as much as it healed, I now feel like I want to leave it behind for good. But it's like the whole process of it, not only doing the project, but also what happened afterwards, and the publicity and the exhibitions is all part of one big healing process, I think.
Yes. That's how I would definitively also look at it. I mean, and it's really wonderful that you have been putting yourself together to be able to speak about it and share it now with a global online audience which wants to learn more about the photographers that are exhibited at Helsinki Photo Festival, but as well as to learn the background of your work. Thank you very much for participating and taking the time to be with us. It's time to move at this point already to the next photographer. So I'm thanking you very much for being here. And it's really nice that now to understand a little bit more what was the background and how you been interpreting fearless as a theme for the audience. Yes, hello. Now we are switching over to Norway. Hello, Ingerid.
Hello.
Wonderful to have you with us. You have been winning you have been becoming an open call finalist in a smaller contest that we are doing every year. We're having a talent platform called the Nordic Village. And there you were selected with your submission, She Hans, as one of the winners. I mean, personally, it's a very impressive theory to see females and not females of different ages actually together hunting elk and other animals in the wilderness. So I think I give before saying actually even more about it, I think pictures will speak for itself. Ingerid, the screen is yours, and I remain in the back in silence.
Okay. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm Ingerid. Nice to meet you all. I will do a screen share. Let me see. Okay, everybody can see it, I hope.
No, I mean today is really the fourth episode. It's about a lot of technical little issues. Yet we don't see it. This camera is still on you. So
Okay, because I'm sharing the screen now.
okay, maybe put the screen back on.
It worked earlier, so
Yeah, well, now we have a situation is that we have like a very in-depth field of different screens, and we're just becoming smaller and smaller and smaller.
yes, I can see that. I don't understand why. Stop screen.
Maybe the tech can help.
It did work like half an hour ago.
Yes, I just get information. Can you share the full screen of your screen?
Of course.
Oh.
Can you see it now?
I hope so. No, we are still. I mean, today we are really lucky. I mean, today we have so many technical issues. I mean, I understood. There must be a way that you can achieve full screen. Maybe you can hop between the windows. It's yes.
For me, I'm sharing a full screen.
Yes, but I can see Shihan's. Now we just need to get the whole presentation into even more full screen. I think yes, it's a PDF.
Okay. In my screen, it's a full screen. Now I can only see that.
Right. Well, no, we are back. No. Okay. We had it for a second. Now it would be so nice to have you. I mean, there's the alternative is what we can do is that we can put it on our screen, and then you could maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, so I mean, I understand that we will share it from our side.
Okay, I can see it now. Yeah.
And then maybe you can help us sometime to say like next, or maybe we just say stop if we're too fast.
Cool.
Okay.
Let's do it. Is it? Can it be a full screen, or is it like this?
I don't know. I mean, as I said, I mean, there's also maybe an alternative. Can I?
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's just go with this.
Let's just do it. I mean, it seems that this is the biggest that can be done at this point. I don't know. Okay. Since it's not on my screen. I mean, I would.
Let's just do it.
Laura, can we go, or can this go any bigger? Just. All right. I mean, I will just say, like, I mean, well, maybe, you know, I mean, while the girls are trying to figure out how to get this presentation really the way as we would like to have it, maybe we could just talk a little bit about how did you, how did you get involved to become a hunter? Because I understood when we were communicating, you've been telling me that, hey, I don't really like to kill animals. It just like I ended up with it.
Yes.
The whole
okay.
And going to like suddenly now I'm an elk hunter, and I was I'm sorry I killed an animal. So I mean I remember that you were very closely to even ashamed, but then on the other hand, you have sent us such impressive photo reportage about.
Okay.
This well, I wouldn't call it a hobby, but I would call it, I mean, we all hunters. I mean, if we go really way back, we the world started to be hunters, and I think you bringing now actually, it's normal that male go hunting, but it's very strong that yes, I think this is the best that we can do.
Fine. Let's do it.
Let's just do it, and
Yes.
I become silent and you speak.
Okay, cool. Let's go. So thank you for letting me be here. I want to talk about my project called She Hunts. I started 4 years ago. This project actually started when I saw an image on social media of a friend of mine, and she was standing in the mountains, pretty masculine posture, over a dead reindeer buck, a large animal, and she had just shot it. And she was holding the antlers in her hands. She was very happy. It was this really, not like a trophy picture, but very like, this masculine pose. And it intrigued me because she was at the same time heavily pregnant. And somehow this it didn't work in my head, this together. Or something wasn't as I expected it to be. So I thought that is interesting to explore in photography. A contrast, or this little feeling of something not being the way you thought it would be. So that's why I started this project. We can move up to the next slide. Maybe the next one too. I wanted to, the image that I had seen, it had challenged me. So I wanted to explore what it means to be a woman and a hunter. And I have been hunting once or twice in my life, but it was not for me. I just tried it and I felt like, I miss my camera. So I'm not a hunter. The only thing is that when you live in Norway, most people know a hunter, or they have relatives who hunt, but most of them are, of course, men. So I wanted to start following women hunters because I find that this was an interesting topic to explore. We can go to the next slide. I think we went backwards. And the next, we just go. Yes. So it's a documentary project. I'm a photojournalist, and it's based on storytelling, reportage. This is where my basis of photography is. But when I had been working on this for a while and I've been making some reportages for newspapers and so on, I realized I wanted to make it more into an artistic project. So for 4 years, I've been photographing women in all parts of Norway, aged from 20 to 91 years old. And I have tried to develop the visual language from the reportage photojournalistic style until a more nuanced, intuitive narrative, and this sort of overarching wholeness, not one story about one person or one hunting, but this feeling of what is hunting about. We can move to the next slide, please, Svenja. I have had quite a lot of reactions because the images are a little bit bloody and maybe too realistic for some people. I like that people are reacting to it, and I am not making a commercial for hunting. I want to make a realistic vision of what is happening. And I keep going back to this image in my head that I saw of this friend. And I think the project is based in this life-death contrast, because woman is the one giving life, but in my project they are also taking lives. And back in the days, Stone Age, also women were hunters. This is thing about women not having hunting instinct is definitely something I think comes from our culture, definitely Western culture. And this is what many of the women have also told me. So I have interviews with most of them. We can actually roll through like slowly the next few images just to look at them. And I will just talk along the way. So I've been to the Arctic, where I work a lot, in the northernmost part of Norway. I've been to the east of Norway and the west, everywhere. Moose hunting or elk, deer, birds, anything. It's a challenge for me also to do this project because it's physically demanding, and it's also very dependent on what is happening. I can spend a week in the mountains and not see anything. So it takes time. I like how the people are so different from what you would expect. This woman with the lipstick is always, someone asks me, well, what's the deal about her? Because she doesn't look like what you would expect. And I like that, because these women are not here to be looked at by us. They are there to do what they want to do. They want to hunt. So they are not models or posing for me. They are just doing, well, it's a hobby, but it's also kind of a lifestyle, I think, for many. I try to photograph with respect for the animals as well as the people I photograph. I don't want to make the photos, I don't want to make them too pretty, but I also don't want to make them disrespectful, because as I said to Rafael in an email, I am a big animal lover. And I think many people who look at these images, they think maybe I'm not. I come from Norway, and I grew up in a little town with that kind of landscape that you would see in a postcard. And this is a part of my project as well, the landscape. But because I grew up in it, I'm not so keen on just landscape. I think it's not so interesting to photograph. But I like to incorporate the people and the landscape in my work. And belonging is a very important theme in my work. And I think this is a way to make sense of belonging in your environment or where you live. To actually go into nature and learn about it and harvest from it it's a very honest way of interacting with nature. And I think in the Western world, a lot of us has forgotten about it. So I don't think I have so much more to say. I'm very happy that I could be here. She Hunts is exhibition, and it's touring in Norway from this September. And next year I will make a book from it. So I hope you will have a look. Its webpage is up here, and this is my Instagram. So a little bit of self-promotion.
Absolutely.
Thank you again for being here.
Thank you. I mean, absolute. You deserve it. It's as said. It's like really an very impressive way to look at it, especially since you've been showing it in your pictures. I mean, it's like usually it's a male flock that goes hunting. In your pictures, you have female flocks of many women of different ages, families, as it looks like, or sisters, mothers. I don't know. Is it like this?
Yes.
It's a whole family of, and the man has been put at home to look after the children, or how is it?
It's both. I mean, I follow every year. I follow all-women hunting team, and there the men are at home. They are no part of this. But also I have been following families, and the men or maybe sons, they are also there, but I don't include them in the pictures because my project is not about men. so it's very different. And sometimes it's just friends, and yeah, it's a very social thing, but normally families. But traditionally it's a father-son thing to hunt.
It is, that's
it
true.
It goes with the father, and he takes his sons out to hunt when they are old enough. But this is changing now, and also mothers take their daughters or sons. And it's very different. I have this picture of this 92-year-old woman who is, she started hunting in 1948, and she has now, I recently went on a hunt with her her great-grandchildren. So it is definitely something, it's a family thing for many, yes.
What, I mean, how has the reaction been? I mean, when you've been exhibiting your works, how have the reaction been of the public when confronted with your works?
Oh, I wish I knew, because I haven't been to any of my exhibitions. Because it's been in Australia and China, and now it's in Helsinki, and I cannot go there. So I don't know.
I hope we will see you in Helsinki next year.
I wish you can tell me, Rafael, because you have seen it.
I mean, I have. We had the head of mission of the Norwegian embassy at your standing next to your works with other people around, and it has the reaction has been. I mean, I think they were from the German embassy. They were saying like it's very unusual to see women hunting, and we understood from the head of mission that she was really referring that in Norway it's very popular that female go hunting, and it's just like part of the contemporary society in Norway, just like to do equally what men used to do. So yes, so this is what I have learned in this discussion, that this is more. I mean, because for me personally, you really could have been putting it any better by saying like, okay, usually it's the father that takes the sons for the hunt, and this is the way as I'm seeing this as well. Like, in my countries, it's really the first time that witnessing images of a flock of women going for for the prey, so to speak.
Yeah. It's an interesting topic to explore. I mean, women hunters are like 15% of the hunting population, to say, in Norway. So it's not so few, but most photographs of hunt is either taken by someone who wants to sell weapons or clothing, or it's taken by organizations who has interests, like for example the Association of Hunters, and they take photographs in a very different way than I do. So it's a very interesting topic to explore.
Yes. Thank you so much for participating and bringing your work closer to the audience, and as well like everybody interested in photography, because I mean I think it's really nice. These webinars are a new way, I would say, like how making the spectators being more, I mean, enabling them to interact better with the artists and to understand a little bit more. It's something else than if you're just looking at a picture at an exhibition. This is a little bit more. This is your personal.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for organizing it.
You're welcome. We will talk later a little bit more. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ingerid. Hej då. Hello, Jasper.
Hello, Rafael, and hello, everybody.
Sorry for keeping you waiting. Today is the day of technical issues, but we all humans, we make mistakes, and this is such a new technology. One day we will be fluent with it. The show is yours. I keep silent.
All right, we see what my technical issues will lead us through. So I'm full screen now. Is it full screen with you as well?
It's perfect.
Oh, wow. Great. Anyway, thanks for having me. I'm happy to share some information with you and everybody about the work, the relatives I did with Ibrahim Aslan. Maybe it's quite a change from the last project, but anyway, it's a work on fatalities on racist violence in Germany. As you might know, in the years 2000 to 2007, the National Socialist Underground, NSU, killed 10 people in Germany, and 9 of them with a non-German ethnic background. And up to the year 2011, when this group was finally uncovered, the police was mainly investigating within the families of the victims. Besides, already in 2006, the image you see now, the family of the then newest victim, Halid Yozgat, organized a rally in their hometown Kassel to mark the series of killings as racist killings and to demand justice and to prevent another 10th victim. I show you this because it had a huge impact on German activist society, where not the German white activists talk about racist victims, but the families themselves take matters into their own hand. Many years later, in 2018, during the trial against the perpetrators, I decided to devote a project to these families. I was drawn. I show you a first image. They will pop up now, not always related to what I'm saying, but maybe sometimes I give you some more hints to them. There were 2 main reasons why I was drawn to this topic. The one is I didn't know the names of the victims of the NSU. Everybody in Germany know the names of the perpetrators, but almost nobody knows the names of the victims. And it was one of the big changes the families brought to the society with this now everywhere hashtag say their names. So we learn the names of the victims. And secondly, it is the families who are in this for life. The victims are dead. And in most cases, the perpetrators will get out of prison after serving their sentence and then maybe forget it, maybe not. But the families are in this for life. And I was drawn to this realm of pain and fearless fighting, if I want to use the name of your main topic. However, these changes the families brought had a huge impact on I wanted to work or I could work on this topic. They did not wait for a white male German photographer to tell them how to deal with this. But anyway, I kept on going, again, for two main reasons. For me, it was never a story about people in Germany with a migrant background. It was a story about Germany, German society, German history, Germany itself. And I'm entitled to talk about my country and its history. But also, I was always interested in dialogue and learning and collaboration, and what that might do to my photographic process. So this was early on the point where Ibrahim Arslan became my main collaborator. He is himself a victim of a arsenic racist ransom attack. Well, this is his father, close to the site where it happened. So he was a victim. He was severely injured by this attack. He lost his sister, his cousin, and his grandmother in the fire. He is an activist in the full sense. He's going to schools, he's going everywhere and telling people and supporting people and building connections. And he was asking questions to my approach and adding the view of the families and the victims themselves to my view. So he changed a lot and he brought a lot into the project. And together we developed a concept, if you want to call it like this, for this group of portraits we took. We widened the focus. I told you about the NSU, which was in the 2000s, but we widened the context to, at least theoretically, all fatalities of racist violence in Germany since World War II. It's a big effort, and we didn't succeed. But if you go into numbers, we're talking about up to 200 people dying in Germany, at least since 1980, by racist violence in a wider sense. I will give you some of these problems later. We included cases that were not court-proof. So maybe there was no court, there was no sentence to any perpetrator, but still the families are pretty sure that they are victims of racist violence. And we took this and wanted to show these feelings. We're not saying that this and racist attack for sure, but we wanted to include these people who have to deal with their fears and losses. And also, as you see in this image, we included cases where people committed suicide due to everyday racism. Her sister killed herself, clearly due to everyday racism. So in a way, of course, I took the pictures. The white guy took the pictures, and we wanted to let them have a say on this. So we let all the protagonists choose the place where these portraits were to be taken. In an attempt to include the deceased in the image somehow, we asked them to maybe find a place which was important to the deceased. So to get them somehow in the mood there. If they didn't want to choose such a place, they were of course free to choose any other. But this, for example, was taken on the playground where the victim was with his children many times. Also, we decided to not have a strict concept of how the image looks. So we wanted to to create diverse portraits, because all these stories are so different. These are patterns of a Vietnamese refugee who died in an arson attack. We have policemen shot by neo-Nazis. We have migrant families. So it's a diverse background, and we didn't want to push this too much into one form of portraiture. And additionally, or finally, we published a book on this topic, and we invited all the protagonists to write completely freely, without our control, about what they want to say and ask and claim. So we gave them the stage, if you want to put it like this. And as the book is totally sold out, we keep on going, and I show you finally an image which I took last week of a cousin of a victim of the Hanau shooting, which happened basically after the book was published, with 8 victims, and we are currently working on a second extended version of this book, because obviously this topic is not over and it's not ending. And might be, even though it's a very German approach, or approach about Germany, of course, I think it's everybody can relate to this from their own history in their own countries. Thank you very much. Are you still there?
Absolutely. I mean, this is. Thank you very much for these insights and telling a little bit more. I had prepared a number of questions, but you answered them all during your presentations, such as like the element of choosing the different locations and on what basis you choose the places. But as you explained, you've been relating it to where it was close to them. But I mean, for me, it's really shocking to see you basically compress it in such a way that, I mean, I wouldn't believe if I would look on the numbers that by now, since the 90s, 200 people has been killed in right-wing attacks. This is quite a shocking number, and it's there are tensions seen that I would, because I mean, when you hear about something and there's just a minor, I mean, this is actually a huge number, and as you were saying as well in your reportage, this is a growing tendency, which is shocking.
I have to just to say something on the numbers, because it's quite complicated. To put it simple, officially, there were about 90. That is from the German government, proven, all details there. Then, if you go beyond this, there were journalist research, and you go up to 120, 150. But all these numbers are starting in the 1990s. Why? I don't know why. Maybe everything changed with German reunification. Of course not. But then we went before 1990s, and so the numbers are growing and growing and growing. But yeah, it's shocking. It's shocking, and at the same time, we tend to forget about them every time something new happens. So I was young in the 1990s, and we saw a lot of racist violence, and this is totally forgotten after the NSU killed all these people. They are forgotten after the Hanau shooting, and of course it's a comment on this development, this book or this project, to remember all the other cases in our country.
I think to remember, there used to be in Germany a show, I'm not sure if it's still going on, it was called, I think, Lindenstrasse. It used to, I think it was very, very popular soap opera going on for many, many years, and I remember right, there was a Vietnamese person which was, well, I think he was working for a doctor, but I mean, every time there was a lot of discussion. It was basically, I think this show was used very much to reflect on the German society and what is happening. And it was like a little bit like a megaphone to reflect what is going on, to bring it to everybody's living room. I think it wasn't it? So a very popular show to
Yeah, I guess so. I watched the first series, but then I somehow got out of it. I'm not sure whether it's still on, but you're right. They try to include everyday or contemporary Germany within their show.
But I mean, my question, I mean, whether Lindenstrasse goes on or not, is there? I mean, what other kinds of things are happening to underline the phenomena that you're pointing out in your works? Is there? I mean, are you one of the? Are you a leading photographer that is supporting to expose the circumstances, or is there a group, or could you elaborate a little bit on this?
Well, there's a huge scene of activists of NGOs who are dealing with the cases, supporting the families, going public, and I'm very much in contact with them and know them all. But maybe I'm this little bit off to go in a more journalistic or artistic way. Wouldn't call myself an activist because I have much respect for their intensity of their work. Next week I'm going to make a very different picture maybe, and they're into this full-time every day. But we have a lot of there's theater performances dealing with these topics. So it's a wide range of people and activists and groups and the families themselves dealing with this. Weiß ich nicht. Sorry, my daughter.
No worries.
Yes.
You've been exhibiting aside of Helsinki Photo Festival, I'm sure as well in many other countries. What are the reactions? I mean, is it much discussed? Well,
it's very different. I think the people are touched and moved and shocked, and then of course you everywhere where we show the images, there are people who know the stories already because they are working on this themselves. It's a bit of a mixture of how do you say to strengthen what you already know for half the viewers, but also it's quite shocking for a lot of people because we tend to forget. And we tend to not know about these families.
Jasper, thank you so much for bringing a better understanding to your pictures. And
you're welcome. Thank you.
And I want as well to ask one more time now, bringing back everybody that has been participating in today's webinar. Would you have some questions to Jasper? Ingerid,
I just want to say it's great.
Thank you.
I need to think before I have questions.
I have so many questions to Sina, but she had to leave, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I have one question.
Yes, please.
Because you're photographing the people, the person you photographed. Did you have because you do it on by example the man in the car and
yes.
with the door open. I mean it's a beautiful setting, but did you talk with the man before to set up it like this, or just did you run? I mean, you knew his address and you ran into it. I'm very curious the way you were setting up, or you just It looks like you accidentally bumped into him.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Okay.
Of course, we made an appointment to meet, and we talked before. And very often, I go there first to introduce me and to get their trust. Sometimes very long processes. As he is the father of my collaborator, so it was much easier. But actually, he was like this all the time we met. He was on the phone all the time,
Okay.
talking to everybody in this village and organizing and checking and asking. And so it was just one of the simple pictures I took, I guess. I just had to get out of my car and turn around. Yeah.
It's great. And so it's pretty hard for them, for you to get people who want to collaborate with this kind of project, because it's very sensitive and
it is sensitive, and I got a lot of no's,
okay.
which we immediately accepted. But then for others, it's maybe similar to Sina, a way of self-healing, or a little step in this process. And then there are many families who think they're forgotten, and they jumped onto it, and we're happy to collaborate. So very, very diverse reactions.
Yeah, it's a great project. It's very touching.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would say thank you very much, Ingerid. You have did something pop to your mind?
No, not really. I just feel very honored to be here, because you all, both Ingeborg, Jasper, and Sina, you have such moving and deep and thoughtful projects. So I feel it's very honored to be here with you. Just impressed by your work, all of you. It's like, wow.
Same for me.
I will check it out. I will look at it more deeply, in my time. Wow, I'm so happy to meet you.
Likewise.
Wonderful. But I would say thank you for being fearless and being part of the Fearless theme at Helsinki Photo Festival 2021. We have come to an end of this webinar show. We still can continue a little bit talking when the show is over. Thank you very much to the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the Embassy of the Kingdom of Norway, and the German Embassy in Helsinki. And this is it. Helsinki Diplomatic Sessions on Photography is over for today. And please come back in on the next episodes.